everyone. The other day I asked my husband Jeff who I should paint for my next video. He was reading an article about Anthony Bourdain at the time, and we've been fans for at least 10 years. So here we are. My reference photo was black and white, and if you're familiar with my videos, you'll recognize this technique. I've drawn Anthony and applied masking fluid to the highlights on his face, hair, arms, and hands. And then I flooded the paper with yellow and green to create a mid-tone. I let that dry, removed the masking fluid, and now I'm going in with purple to bring out all the shadowy areas and darkest parts. The masking fluid has protected the paper from the green and yellow paint, and I blurred some of the white edges with a bit of damp paper towel. If you're trying this technique, you can use any colors you want, and those colors can suggest different moods. And if you're painting someone with some shadows or wrinkles on their face, I think you'll have an easier time. I did not have an easier time with this painting. In fact, what you're seeing is my second attempt. Yesterday I painted a yellow and orange background with purple shadows. I had almost finished it and I was very happy with the painting until I noticed that the video was woefully out of focus. So I had to start over from scratch with this one. Painting the same thing 2 times in a row is my least favorite thing to do. I often describe it as soul-destroying, so I am painting while annoyed here. At least I've got some different colors to work with though. That green, yellow, and purple combination is unusual and one of my favorites. When I layer the purple over the top, I get an interesting brownish kind of color, and I'm just going to keep building up the purple until I'm satisfied with the values here. Anthony's face is unmistakable, and as I've watched his shows on TV, I've often thought he'd make a wonderful subject, and indeed he did. His mouth is just terrific, and the space between his nose and upper lip is delightfully vast. This space is called a philthrum, which is something a few of my friends and I were randomly discussing on our group chat the other day. Anyway, he was easy to paint, with his large features on his elongated face. He reminded me of a sort of stretched out Adam Clayton from U2, and many of you might know that I paint U2 a lot. A couple of years ago, someone on Twitter pointed out their similarities, and Anthony agreed and seemed amused by this. So I've gone over his face with a few layers of purple now, continually making things darker. Now I want to refine some of the hard edges left by the masking fluid. Rubbing them with a paper towel feels clumsy because these shapes are small, so I'm sort of wiggling a damp No. 1 round brush across places I want to soften, and it does a good job. Actually, I'm using an older No. 1 brush whose point I've worn down. That really is a thing that happens if you use a brush enough, or at least if you use the same cheap ones I like. After about a month of extended use, the tip becomes slightly blunt, and this is how I continue to use those older No. 1s. I started reading Anthony's books in 2000 with Kitchen Confidential. Jeff and I received his Les Hall book at our wedding, and we went to his New York restaurant of the same name in 2009. I'm pretty sure we have watched every episode of No Reservations and Parts Unknown. No Reservations inspired us to seek out and try adventurous and uniquely local foods when we travel. Art and food are always the focus of any trip we make, and we base our daily itineraries on where we want to eat. One time in Italy, inspired by a tip from No Reservations, Jeff tried a lampredetto sandwich, a popular street food in Florence that's made from the fourth and final stomach of a cow. The sandwich was, to quote Jeff, exactly what you might expect when you eat somebody else's stomach, and the taste lingered with him for days, unfortunately. Later on, when we visited Burano, we ate the most incredible risotto of our lives, again based on a Bourdain recommendation. Anthony's show Parts Unknown was even better and was less about food and more about humanity, and I highly recommend it. When Anthony Bourdain died last year, Jeff and I were stunned and saddened, as were his legion of fans. While I was talking, I worked on the start of his t-shirt and tattoos. To paint tattoos, I always paint the arm as if it had nothing on it, and then I layer the tattoos over the skin. Watercolor does a great job with that. And I wanted his shirt to be looser and less detailed, so the rest will go pretty quickly. If you haven't already, I hope you will check out Anthony Bourdain's impressive body of work. You can learn so much from him. Thanks a lot for watching.